There on watching Mara and all her accolades over there?
All right, Mara's playing really well. It's been really fun to watch her compete and be in a different environment. The games are very physical games. They're very fast-paced games. You're playing outside, and so there are a lot of different challenges. And I think she's growing, she's learning, she's having a great experience. It's really hot, so making sure you're taking care of your body, which obviously is going to be different when we play, but understanding how important it is, every little thing you do adds up to impact how you play. Those are all great lessons for her. So it's been really good.
How much has she practiced with you guys so far?
All right, so we are 2.5 weeks into our summer workouts, and Mara was with us for the first week. So we have 14 players on our roster for next year. 12 of them are with us right now. Mara was with us for a week. Jock Medall from Canada graduates tomorrow, so happy high school graduation to her. And then she'll be with Canada basketball until towards the end of July, and then she'll come join us. We are heading on a foreign tour, so the NCAA gives us 4 hours a week in basketball right now, 4 hours in strength and conditioning. And then we go on a foreign tour. We're going to Croatia and Greece, August 17th through the 27th. And with that, the NCAA gives us 10 practices. So we'll start those in July when we're closer to being all together. And we know a little bit more of kind of what to expect and how to build it. And so right now we're building the base so that we're ready for those.
That's great timing with that foreign tour, more practices for your first year.
It is. It's really good. It makes it really busy for our young ladies this summer. But the good part about that is they're really only in 1 or 2 classes at the most at this point in time. And so we're getting ready for our season, and we do get those extra practices, so it's really good for us.
Was that something that was already in the books, or is that something you guys added once you got here?
Yeah, that was something that was already set up before we got here, so we got to walk into looking at what it looks like. The group that we're going with is a group that we've been with before, and so one of the things that we'll add are some community service type of opportunities for us, whether it's running clinics or if you guys want to donate money so that we can then go buy some shoes for some kids that don't have the opportunity to do that. We're going to do a little fundraising and go out and raise some money and then help out in another way. At least that's what it looks like right now for our community service opportunities.
With Mara, is there a trade-off not having her here but having her get that experience? What is the trade-off there?
Oh, right, I think you're exactly right. It's great for Mara it's great for all of our kids to be here and to go through the summer workouts and know what it looks like. But the advantage Mara has is we had 5.5 weeks of workouts in the postseason. So she knows what to expect in a lot of ways, and she learns really fast. She picks up on things really quickly. So the advantage for her right now is she is learning something completely different. She is learning how to compete in very different circumstances, and that will transfer over to when she comes back, helping her learn to compete here too.
How is Nia Holloway?
Right, Nia is very close. So hopefully by the time we get to our trip in August, she'll be full go with us. She right now is at about going and doing things live up to 2-on-2. We actually had up to almost 3-on-3 the other day. It was 3-on-2.5, and so she's looking really good in those situations. But it's still making sure that we're being patient, but also obviously prepping her and getting her ready for it.
Do you have the size to keep her at wing, or do you feel like we need to play her?
Oh, wait, do you think we know those answers yet? Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea at this point in time. I think just she is someone who is going to be able to help us because she's such a good athlete. She plays so hard. She can make plays that other players just can't make in the same way. So where exactly does that put her? We don't really play by numbers per se because of our offense is a little bit more reading than that. If we can run it, and we're going to see. This summer gives us an opportunity to kind of practice some of those things and see if it works well or if we have to adjust and try some other things out.
Just what's the overall process been like? I mean, it's been about 3 months since you were in head
Right.
coach. Now you've had that time to assemble your roster and see what it looks like on the floor. What's the whole process been like?
Well, it's been a lot, honestly. The great part is that our staff has been tremendous. The support from our student athletes has been incredible. They are really, really hungry. They are like sponges right now, and so their growth, they're continuing to grow and get better. So it has been a lot, but it's been really positive. It's been, I think we're continuing to get better, and when we have opportunities where even in our workouts where we didn't in a certain circumstance, we can point it out, we can go back and we can do it the next time, and they learn from it. So their ability to carry things over has been really high. That's been really good.
John, where would you say you're at in the process of like getting to know your players and them getting to know you and the staff? Just sort of that.
Still early, I think, in that regard of us really getting to know each other and what it exactly looks like. And so what the month of June provides us is an opportunity to start doing some things together outside of basketball, whether that's community service opportunities, camp opportunities, those type of things, book studies. And so we start to get to know each other off the court. Then July, that kind of ramps up again, and then you add those practices in, and we have some other team building activities, and then we go to Croatia and Greece. And so we have the next probably 2 months are going to be really good for us to really spend time together outside of basketball, and that's really, really important.
What has recruiting been like for you, and have you been well received?
Recruiting, I think, there are so many great connections that we have had with either coaches, young ladies, players. What I think is really interesting in women's basketball, especially, is that you're recruiting girls when they are still really young in their careers a lot of the times, not all the time. And so it allows you opportunities to really develop those relationships over the course of time. So that's really where we're at in that process right now. We've had some wonderful young ladies in conversations on campus, those type of things. So it's been busy.
With all the traction that women's college basketball, especially this past season, has gotten, how do you see that affecting this program in particular? Do you see it?
Well, I think there's a lot of energy around college women's basketball for sure right now, and so we just had the Honda All Sports Awards for females, and Brooke Olson, who is on our staff, who is a graduate manager for us, actually was awarded the Division II Player of the Year. Caitlin Clark was Division I Athlete of the Year, and so you see women's basketball getting recognition at such a high level. That was on CBS Sports Network in, what are we in, June, the end of June, so I just think there's a lot of positive momentum. We're working hard behind the scenes to try to continue to grow that. And so we're looking at some different things from a marketing standpoint. But the bottom line is, our goal is, number one, is to take care of our players and develop our players on and off the court so that they're fun to watch and that fans and media have fun covering our players.
Has that always been a focus for you, to make it entertainment as well as try to win?
Well, I think if you do things the way we want to do them, if you compete at a really high level, then it is entertaining. It's really fun. Now, we talk about playing fast, and a lot of players want to play fast. And we talk about that even in the press conference. Everybody wants to play fast, but in order to play fast, you have to get stops. And getting stops can be really fun for fans to watch, because that means you are getting on the floor. It means you're taking charges. It means you're finishing plays. It means you're tough and gritty, and that's really fun. And your fans learn to appreciate that. But then what that allows you when you get stops is to go push on the other end. And so that's really, all those little things are things we're working on right now.
When you talk about the growth and the popularity of women's sports, women's basketball, when did you see it really take off?
Is that a question about how old I am at this
No,
point in time?
it's
Is that,
not.
okay, just check it on that. I just think that's a really good question. When did it really explode? I think the Big Ten has always been a conference where women's basketball has had some great attendance over the course of time. I would say in the last 10 years, it's really taken off, and made that a consistent type of fan base. And so it's been something that continues to grow, and I think something that will continue to grow. I think it's great that last year you look at the Big Ten women's basketball tournament is hosted right here in Minneapolis, and look at the crowd. So thank you to all the people who came out. Now come watch us. This will be a lot of fun.
And was there something that sparked the growth?
Well, I think the level of play has continued to grow, and it's been really fun to watch. I think the WNBA has continued to, expand in terms of not necessarily the number of teams, but in terms of coverage and I think exposure out there. And then on top of it, I think it's all women's sports are continuing to grow their exposure, and I think that certainly women's basketball benefits from that as well. But the level of player, there's we have some really fun players to watch. If you haven't gone back, you can YouTube and go back. You don't have to get up at 3 in the morning to watch Mara play. But if you go back and you watch those 3-on-3 games, they're exciting. They're so fast paced, and that's what I think is really fun, is that there's opportunities to watch these games at so many different levels, and the level of play is really high.
What's your recruiting like, balancing high school and then transfer portal? I know you
Right.
inherited some transfers and then brought some in, and then moving forward, like how do you go
Yeah,
about that?
I think ultimately for us, it's a player by player case, and getting to know young ladies who want to be here that are a good fit for us. And so I don't know that it's a 75%, 25% type of thing. I think it's more of individually. Ultimately, we'd love to find a way to kind of find that perfect mix. And I think we have a really good blend. We're really young this year. The reality is that we are, but then we have to have leaders. We have to teach our young kids how to be leaders in different ways and figure that out.
Do you think your transfers, Janae and Sophie, are starting to become leaders in the summer? Or?
I think they've both been incredible leaders on and off the court in different ways. I think both of them, it was kind of neat to see them in camp, and we had camp from Monday through Thursday, and they were incredible. Their energy in terms of how they led, and we could sit back, whether it was warming up, getting kids going in different stations. Then we had another camp on Friday, and they did it again. So I think they're leading not only on the court, but they're leading off the court, and that's really important too, because again, in our program, we really believe every moment matters. Everything you do kind of stacks up upon itself. So what you're doing in one area will carry over and will help us, on the basketball court as well. So I think those two have done a tremendous job.
What do you now know about this job that you didn't know when you took it?
There's so much to do in Minneapolis, really, truly. It's not when you're in coaching, your mind is on your job. It's so many different ways, but that impacts us for our program. I think we have great opportunity to go do different things together as a team, but it's also great in recruiting. I think it certainly will help us in recruiting. There are so many different ways that we can recruit a young lady, and she's interested in some aspect. And usually we can find something here in this area where she can be mentored, where she can have exposure to that, whatever it is. So I just think the area, the surrounding area itself is something that I've never really coached in a community like this in that regard.
Do you find NIL in conversations more now with recruits?
We do, and I think that's going to continue to grow, and that's something that we, at the University of Minnesota, have to continue to grow where we're at. That's something that, we are in I think at the ground level of kind of building those connections right now.
What is Team Michigan Freeze, and how have you used that to implement your personal values into your coaching?
Team Michigan Freeze? Well, that was a team, if I remember correctly, that our son played on many, many years ago. And so I just think the reality for us is we want our players to play really, really hard. That's really important for us. We also want them to love what they're doing. That's also really important. I think that team had that kind of chemistry and that kind of connection. And so I do think whatever it is that we're doing, it's important that we have a love and a joy in doing it.
Have you had a chance to talk much to Ben Johnson? And I don't know if you guys have watched each other's practice just briefly or taken
Not as much as I would like to, very honestly. I think we've been both really, really busy in building, and so unfortunately not as much as I would like to. But that is something I love watching. Any practices. I love watching high school practices when we're allowed to do that and take notes and take some of the drills and carry them over, or from our men's staff, whatever it is. So I would love to do that more. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.